All right. Okay, so this is our interview. The second go around because the first time, um, it didn't load on my computer correctly and I cried. So this is the second time.
The computer ate your homework.
It did. Anyways, so this is the second go around. Hopefully,
it's gonna be awesome.
Just as good as the first one.
The first one was good.
All right. So now to start off, we're gonna start off with an easy question.
Oh, should you introduce me?
Oh right, yeah. This is my mom. If you don't know. She is from England and
I'm from England.
is a very good mother.
Aw, thank you.
You have a lot of money, so
I don't know
much. Well, you have enough to buy me stuff, so that makes you a good mother.
All right.
Anyways, let's start off with a virtual question. Okay, so what is your favorite color and why?
Oh, my favorite color?
Yeah.
All right, so that's an easy one. My favorite color is green, and the shade of green that is my absolute favorite is those big bugs that fly around during the summer that have no steering control, and people like go, ah! I love them, and because if you flip them over on their belly, it is this beautiful iridescent green. That's my favorite color. It's just I could stare at it for hours. It's just gorgeous. And I always want those bugs to land on me because I love them.
Oh, they like me though. I think because I usually have like green hair, and so they think
it's because you squeal so much when they're around.
Probably.
Awesome.
I think it's a mating thing. Anyways.
Okay.
So now to the first question.
Yes.
So you're from England.
I am from England,
originally.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So since this is part of my cultural influences, what are some of the things in England that you find different in like America? Like what are some differences? What are some similarities?
Obviously, well, I mean, some people would say the language is the same, but yes, on the surface, the language is the same, but there are a lot of differences between the American language and the British language. I mean, we have different words for stuff. We pronounce things correctly, whereas American people don't.
The
H people. It's H. It's not H. Only common people say H where I come from. So H, you don't say I'm going home. I'm going home.
Well, I mean, some people say I'm going home.
I'm going home. Yeah, I'm going home. Right? I'm
going
home.
Come from school. I'm going home.
Yeah. And you don't say what? I don't say I hate that. You say you don't say I ate that.
I mean, you do.
You say I hate that. So it's H, people. The word is H. So there are some words and pronunciations that are a bit different. And what else? Some of the things that are the same. There's not a lot of things that are the same. There's a lot of differences. Small, minute, like just colloquial differences. I really feel like the sensibility between American people and British people is very different. Like English people tend to be very kind of tell you how it is, and American people a lot of times will be very polite and not tell you how it really is, but not everywhere. Like in Boston, I lived in Boston for the first 8 years I was in this country, and in Boston, people tend to tell you the way it is. So I feel like there were more similarities between the East Coast experience that I've had in England versus the West Coast experience I've had in England. Things that are different. So I really miss pubs. Pubs are very, we don't have that in America. Pubs are very cool. Pubs are public houses, and they are basically a meeting place for the community. And here, if you're under the age of 18 or 21,
it's 21's the legal drinking age.
So you cannot go into a bar that serves alcohol. You can go into a restaurant, but that's completely different. So in a pub in England, it's open to all ages. You can't legally drink until you're 18. but there are certain drinks that do have alcohol in them, a little bit of alcohol in them, that children can get away with drinking. And it's just a really cool, fun atmosphere. Like I said, it's a public house, so it's a community meeting place, and so I kind of miss having that thing. That's really, really cool. What else? I mean, the food's different.
Yeah.
What else?
I can move into a different question.
Sure,
you
do that.
On that one.
I'm sorry.
Let's see.
I talk a lot.
Okay. Oh, I'm trying to think. I'm kind of going off the top of my head with this. So.
Oh! I know one of the questions you asked me before.
Yeah.
Before the computer ate your video was what were some of the things that surprised me when I first came to this country? Remember that question?
Yeah. Right,
that was a good one.
So.
Go ask it.
Okay. Go. So. What are some of the things that surprised you?
I'm glad you asked. So, one of the first things that really surprised me was peanut butter. You guys really eat that? And I was like, I think I actually said, "Oh my goodness, you really eat that?" When I first came over to this country, I was on the East Coast, and I was just north of Boston, in a pretty affluent community that could afford to have nannies come over from Europe. And so the family that I was first living with, they had peanut butter, peanut butter and jelly. Wow, that's a thing. It's really a thing. Oh, and iced tea. Okay, so in England, we drink a lot of tea. But if the tea gets cold, we throw it out and we make another pot. Like, you drink your tea hot. So iced tea took a little bit of getting used to. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like it now, but I kind of prefer it hot. But just, yeah, iced tea was kind of weird. And then when the first week that I was nannying, the mom asked the kids at dinner time if they wanted apple cider. And I was really shocked because I remember thinking, I didn't think they were allowed to drink until they were 21 over here. And then I found out that apple cider is actually non-alcoholic, and it was very sad. Because in England, cider is all alcoholic. So, is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, another question. So, since you're from England, how do you think some of your culture has influenced me and, like, growing up?
I think when you have a parent or you have a family that comes from, that has multiple cultures that they're combining, I feel it opens up your view of the world. You hear me talk about how things are in England and how things are in Europe, and I think it just gives you a broader perspective on life in general. And then hopefully next year when we actually get to go to England, fingers crossed, it will be a really cool experience for you. So there's that aspect of it. And I think just in my sensibilities and the way that we talk, like I said, I grew up, things are different in England and Europe as far as views on stuff. So I feel like that has probably played a part in your upbringing. Plus, you could do a really good English accent.
I can.
A very good English accent. And that started when you were 4.
Yeah.
And I taught you to say, "It's 4 o'clock. It's time for tea."
I think I remember that. It was
Do you remember?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
It was awesome. So adorable. Anyway, so yeah, I just, and I think, Dad's side of the family is Newfoundland Irish. So again, that's close to, English. So you basically have to like tea a lot because that's the thing.
I do like tea. I have my.
Oh, you do have tea.
I have
it's
my
Asian tea.
Yeah, but it's still tea. I mean, the British stole it from the Indians. So I guess Indians, right?
Yeah, we stole a lot of stuff.
Stole a lot.
We borrowed a lot of stuff. We reappropriated it.
Anyways, okay.
It's a thing.
Let's see. What's a Okay.
There was a question you asked before about. Oh, you should go. I'm done.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. I think this was my favorite question that I said because it's about me.
Mhm.
How do you like how I've turned out? Like, how do you perceive me? Like, do you like what I want to do in the future? Like, what's your thoughts on my sexuality? Were you surprised? Just like what do you think about that? Like, are you disappointed?
I am really just so amazed at how you progressed this far.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really proud of all your achievements. I feel like since 6th grade, you have really developed into this studious, conscientious person that, is responsible as far as schoolwork goes, as far as personal stuff goes. And I really feel, as far as your sexuality goes, to me, it's. I think I was surprised at first,
Mm-hmm.
when you said I'm pansexual, and I was like, pan what? And I was like, isn't that just
I like kitchenware.
boys and girls? No, and you explained the whole thing to me, and I think at first I was surprised,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was just like, oh, okay, sure. If
Yeah.
that's who you are. I mean, I think not accepting who your child is so hard for both parties. I mean, why? I mean, it helps, my brother's gay.
Yeah.
So,
Good old green.
and that hasn't changed the way that he is. It's just, it's him, and he's basically, it's better because he can be who he wants to be, and the same thing with you. It's really important to be true to who you are,
Mm-hmm.
as long as that's not somebody evil.
Well,
You're not. You're fine. But I feel like, we have such a good relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and we have so much fun together.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how other mothers and daughters function, but like we do a lot together, and we go hang out, and we just have a lot of fun. I mean, we go to concerts together, and we go shopping together. We just talk about everything. I mean, do you feel like we can talk about anything?
Yeah, well, no, I feel like we do have like a closer relationship than most mothers and daughters, and I really like that. I think it's like, I think it's good, because it makes things like easier to talk to you about like my problems, especially as like a woman, blooming woman,
Blooming
a
woman.
blooming woman,
Just blooming.
And I think it's good to have that like back and forth thing, that it works out.
Yeah, and it's important as a parent. Oh, don't kick the thing. There we go. It was an earthquake. I think it's important as a parent to create that safe place and that foundation for your children, and so that whatever happens, because life's going to throw some crap at you. It really does. I mean, we don't have enough time, but I can tell you some of the crap it's thrown at me. And I feel like it's not your brother. Good grief. But no, some serious, like the bottom falls out of your world stuff. And it's so important to know that you have that family connection, and that solid relationship, that person or those persons that you can go to, and really just, that's your safety net, that's your safe place when that horrible stuff happens. And that's kind of what I hope you feel like you have with us.
I think I do.
Okay.
All right, next question. And I don't want to burn through all your battery, so this will probably be the last one unless I think of anything.
We can keep talking for hours.
I
I don't have my
know.
glasses on. I can't see a thing.
We're at 15 minutes. So I have
Oh,
like 5
nice.
minutes left to talk to you. So.
Oh yeah, I'll fill that time easy.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this is possibly the final question, and it is,
Yes.
since you are a teacher, you
I am a
teach
teacher.
performing arts.
I do teach performing arts.
How do you like envision yourself like helping other children? Like, what do you like about teaching, and kind of like what do you strive to pull out of the children, like the positive things?
So
That
this
made
is
me
my
sad.
No, I did. So this is my 7th year going into teaching performing arts, and I actually created and founded the performing arts department at our School Innovations Academy. Yay!
Stop plugging your merch.
Sorry, I know my merch. It's not my merch, but I think right now at this point in time, I feel that my job is not necessarily to create a bunch of actors, but the thing that I feel is really important and kind of the main goal of my job is to provide a space for my students so that they can just feel comfortable and they can feel confident when they stand up and they want to put forth their ideas. And, you know, it's a scary thing getting up in front of people and talking. And, you know, I tell my students, you know what? I don't care if you never get on stage after you leave this school, after you leave my class. But the thing that I do care about is that you have the skills, you have the confidence to stand up in front of a crowd of people and put forth your ideas and do it with confidence and know that you're being heard. It's so important. I mean, if you find that you have a love of improv, or you find that you have a love of musical theater or Shakespeare after you finish with me, that's awesome. That's like a whole nother avenue you can go explore. But for those kids that are like, nah, the getting on stage thing, that's not for me. If they leave my class and my school,
Your school. What's kind of your school?
my class, if they leave with an understanding of how to speak in front of people and how to be confident, that's the main goal. And I didn't figure that out at first. When I first started teaching, it was really all about the production and, you know, getting kids to like get up on stage and try it out. And it dawned on me a few years ago, wow, this is, you know, the stuff that I just talked about is really the main thrust of what I do. And it's really, you know, I've had students that started out going, oh my God, I can't do this. But even the most shy kid, if they're able to stand up and do that, to speak confidently, that's huge. Because honestly, there's very few jobs where you're not gonna have to do that in some capacity. So being able to practice at this level, you know, K through 8, and to start to feel comfortable with that and make mistakes, that's really important. That's why with 8th grade, my main focus for the year is public speaking, because you're gonna have to do it in high school, you're gonna have to do it in college, you're gonna have to go and do a job interview, and being able to manage those feelings of, oh my God, and tamp those down and just make sure you don't look like a gibbering idiot. That's really kind of important. So that's definitely, I think, where my main goal is as far as teaching and the job that I do, and also to put on some really cool shows. So I just got a new theater, which I can't use because of COVID, but I have a really awesome theater now. It's really good, with a huge costume room.
Anyways.
Yes. Is there more questions?
No, it's
Come on, ask me something else.
It's 20 minutes.
What?
Yeah, it's 19:20.
But they want to hear more.
They don't.
They do. It's very interesting.
Oh. Thank you for coming and being my interviewer.
You're welcome. Thank you for
Yeah.
interviewing me.
Oh.
We should do this more often.
Yeah. We should start a podcast.
A podcast.
No.
All right. It was nice talking in front of you.
All right, cool.